Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Life in the Wildlands podcast, where we discuss exciting opportunities with outdoor careers, share professional experiences, and provide advice to overcome the hurdles to federal employment. I am your host, Becky Shufelt, and today we have a very special guest. He is Skyler Shufelt, my son, and I'm really excited to share some potential outdoor jobs that he can think about for the future. So welcome, Skyler, and tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm 9 years old and I live in Montana.
Do you think that we live in life in the wildlands?
Well, yes,
And why?
we do live on a mountain in the wild. There's a lot of deer, a lot of turkeys.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
And what do you enjoy most about living out in the wild?
I enjoy seeing lots of animals
What kind of animals?
like deer and turkeys and a lot more.
And do you enjoy going out for recreation and out in the wild here? Because we have some cool hiking trails that are really close, right?
Yes, we do.
Okay, so are you excited to hear about the types of jobs that when you become an adult out of high school, you might be interested in?
Yes.
Great. Well, for starters, you know that your father, Rob Shufelt, is a former wildland firefighter. Do you know what wildland firefighting is?
No, I'm not sure.
Wildland firefighters have a very important job. They are the folks that are out there when a fire happens in the forest. And so their job is to put the fire out. So it's really, really, really important. And what's really cool about being a firefighter on National Forest or Park Service lands, so like national parks like Yellowstone, right? They help make sure it's protected so that the fire doesn't get out of control. So what they do is they work really, really hard. They work really long days. But the great thing about it is that they get to go to some of the most amazing places across the country. Isn't that really cool?
Yes, it is very cool.
And is that something that you would like to do someday, maybe?
Yes, I would.
So I spent a little time myself fighting fires in my younger days, and there was no better experience than being able to light the forest on fire and get paid to do it. Normally, that's something people get arrested for in any other situation.
Yes.
Can you tell me how you would feel if you got paid to light the forest on fire for protection of the communities around the fire?
I'm not sure.
It's super exciting to get to be able to do that without getting in trouble for doing it. Do you know the reason why firefighters have to light the forest on fire sometimes near wildfires?
No, I do not.
Okay, they do this so that they can burn all of the fuel, which is all of the dead and down sticks and logs and things that might create a problem if the fire gets way bigger than it should. So really what it does is they help to basically fight fire with fire. So by the time the fire gets to where they already burned out a section, it slows it down and sometimes we'll put it out.
Interesting and nice.
Yeah. And if you think about it, it protects a lot of homes and a lot of people's lives. So it's a really important job to do. And when they're not lighting the forest on fire to fight the fire, they're using water. So maybe they have a fire engine. The fire engine uses water and a chemical in the water to help try to slow fire down as well. Really cool thing what Daddy used to do. We can also talk about other jobs with the Forest Service. And one of them is being a botanist. Do you know what that means?
I have no idea what being a botanist means.
It's a really important job as well. All of them are super important. Working outside to protect our backyard, basically, in national forest. And a botanist is somebody that studies and knows plants.
Mm,
And do you know why that might be important?
to help plants?
Yeah, exactly. Well, at least the good ones, because we've talked about endangered species before. Endangered species are plants and animal species, like different types of plants and animals that are disappearing for one reason or another. So that means that there's not very many of them. And it's really important that as a botanist, somebody that studies plants, keep track of where those sensitive plants are so that they can save them during different types of projects. And then what they also do is, have you ever heard of a noxious weed or an invasive weed?
I'm not sure. Maybe a bad weed or something.
Yeah, exactly. A bad weed. So a bad weed is not supposed to be in the area that it's growing. And these different types of plants can take out the ones that are endangered. And so it's really important that the botanists come up with different ways to make sure that these types of plants don't invade other good plants that are supposed to be here. As we remember when we go hiking and try to remember the names of different types of flowers.
I think one was like a yellow one, and I kind of forgot the name of it, but they are growing near our house.
Oh, really? Already? Yeah, I guess it's mid-April, so we should be seeing all kinds of different wildflowers, huh? But how would it be if there were things that made those wildflowers not grow around here anymore? It wouldn't be a very beautiful place as it is now, huh? How about when people stomp on them? They don't have a chance to produce more wildflowers if somebody picks them or somebody stomps on one.
It's most likely not to survive.
Yeah, so that's why you can tell that the job of a botanist is really, really important. So if you like and enjoy plants and wildflowers and trying to protect those, that might be a really good job choice for you, because that's what you would do all day is go try to identify or name and record where these types of plants are living.
Yes, that is very true.
So what sounds really cool about that job?
Like studying a lot of wildflowers, like trying to figure out what like identify them and everything. We're gonna have a lot of plants soon.
Yeah. So why would it be important to find out where these different plants are living?
I don't exactly know why. Oh wait, yeah, to protect them.
And make sure that they stay living.
Yeah, to make sure that they stay living and alive.
Another really cool job is an archaeologist. Do you know what that means?
I know, you told me last night. It's someone who studies history.
Yeah, that's right. So what's neat about archaeology work is that you can go out and look for artifacts. Do you know what artifacts are?
Can you please tell me what artifacts are?
Artifacts are existing pieces of history, things that belong to people of the past. So can you think of an artifact or a type of artifact?
A couple days ago, we did see some artifacts. Me and my dad, the guy who fights fires and everything, as you know, he we were exploring down in the woods. We went down into the woods, and then we found some like stuff like from old stuff, like a bottle with liquid still in it, like glass plates, like a lot of artifacts that were there.
Wow, really? Like, how old do you think that these artifacts were?
Probably from the 1960s or 50s or 70s. I'm not sure. Probably from the 19s. It looks pretty old. I'm not sure if they still make those bottles with liquid in them. Once again, because I can't remember what the drink was.
That must have been a really exciting discovery. So, you found artifacts that were over 50 years old. And that's what archaeologists do is they look for artifacts that are over 50 years old, and then they determine whether or not that place is sensitive. So they don't take the artifacts, they leave them in place. And so what else do you think is an artifact? Maybe from Native Americans?
Maybe, I'm not sure. What do you think?
What about arrowheads?
Arrowheads? What are those exactly?
So arrowheads are what Native Americans used to use. They made them out of what's called a rock called obsidian. And they would chisel the ends to be very, very sharp. And they would use them on the ends of their arrows out of them, and then use the bow to shoot at animals so that they could eat the animals.
Yes, very true. I know how obsidian is basically made, like pour water in lava or pour water in lava. So I think something like that.
Yeah, you're right. Obsidian is made from lava. And where does lava come from?
Comes from volcanoes.
Mhm. Yeah, and it takes millions of years for it to form into obsidian, which is a really cool looking rock. Sometimes it's black, sometimes it's red. So when an archaeologist finds artifacts out in the forest, they don't take the artifacts with them, they leave them there. So that's why it's really important if you ever find one to not tell anybody about it, because people like to take them home and they belong where they were. It's part of leave no trace, right? We can all enjoy things out in nature, but not take it home with us and not leave a trace that we were there. So that's why it's really important. And so when there's projects or fires, the Forest Service will talk with their archaeologists to tell the firefighters where not to dig so that they don't disturb these sites. The goal is to try to preserve history where it lies. So what do you think would be really cool about being an archaeologist?
Discovering a lot of neat stuff from a long time ago, like a lot of history stuff, old stuff, neat stuff from a long time ago. Like it's pretty rare to find stuff like in the woods, like in the sand, like gold, like anywhere.
Yeah, that's right. Next job is a wildlife biologist. Can you think about what they might do? We talked about firefighting. We've talked about being a botanist. What about wildlife?
So, are you saying a wildlife biologist?
Mm-hmm. So we could say botany biologist, but we don't. So basically, you know what wildlife is, right?
Yes, I do.
And what is wildlife?
A lot of animals. I guess you can say insects.
Yeah, sure. So a wildlife biologist is somebody that studies wildlife. So mainly mammals, sometimes fish, and other animals that live in the water. And those are called aquatic biologists. Anything in the water. So can you tell me what you think a wildlife biologist would be doing?
Wildlife biologist would be exploring wilderness or
And trying to find what?
animals.
Not just any animals, animals that might possibly be also endangered, right? What does endangered species mean?
Extinction means there are no more, like no more of anything. Like dinosaurs went extinct a long time ago because of a meteor that hit Earth.
Well, that's definitely a theory that the scientists have. But yes, you're right. Extinction means that there are endangered animals and plants out there that are the reason they're endangered is because that they may, if we lose enough of them, they'll be gone forever. That makes me sad. How does that make you feel?
That makes me sad. But dinosaurs, I'm not so sure. If they lived where we live in Montana, then they would be pretty loud.
Yeah, you're probably right. They'd be really big and loud.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go through one more job here. So when I worked for the Forest Service, I worked in recreation. I was a recreation management specialist. Do you know what that means?
No, could you please tell me?
So what I did was really important too, because the thing about having national forest, which is open to anybody in the country, is to protect it as well, to make sure that I work with the botanist and the wildlife biologist and the firefighters and the archaeologists to make sure that we were managing campgrounds, day use areas, and trails that we didn't damage those resources while we were doing projects. So it was really important. And I, from the ground up, worked in campgrounds to maintain them. So remember when we go to campgrounds and there might be a picnic table that has a broken seat?
Can I please tell a quick Yellowstone story?
Okay.
Oh. How do I start this off? So when we were in Yellowstone, we went to this shop. We saw a bear shirt. It looked pretty nice. So I decided to get it. It was glow in the dark. So a couple minutes after we got it, we are at the campsite. And we just decided to go for a little drive, me and my dad. I don't know what we did go for a little drive for. But after we were done doing our drive, while we were coming back, we saw cars pulled over, and we thought it was just some other deer, but we didn't know. So cars started to move, so we started going up, and there we saw a black baby bear.
No way.
Yes, we did.
I know. I wish I would have been there.
Yes.
How did that make you feel seeing the black bear?
Pretty nice. Pretty nice. I really like seeing wildlife, and that was probably my first time seeing a bear. I'm not sure.
Was that exciting?
Yes, it was pretty exciting, and I was like, no way, that's a coincidence because of my shirt. I was literally wearing that shirt at that time, the bear shirt. At that time I saw the bear, so that just kind of stunned me, like, oh my gosh, no way.
Wow, maybe the shirt was lucky.
That's what we think. So at the time, we went to a Yellowstone shop after a day of staying there, maybe 2 days, I'm not sure, maybe just after a day. We went to Yellowstone. We go to a Yellowstone shop, and then when we're at the Yellowstone shop, we get to see a wolf shirt. And of course, my dad thought about the time we saw a bear when I was wearing the bear shirt. So we thought it would make us lucky to see a wolf. So we bought the shirt. We came home, it was pretty late, so I put on the shirt and went to bed. Next day, we got up and drove to Yellowstone. We were in West Yellowstone at the time we got the wolf shirt, so we got tickets, went right into Yellowstone, and then as we were going there or coming back from just seeing like a buffalo or anything, we were just, after doing that thing, we headed back. I'm not sure, but we were heading back, and then we see a coyote on the road. We saw a coyote.
What? You saw a coyote?
Yes, on the road beside us. I was like, no way. And that time, I was still wearing the wolf shirt.
Well, it's not a wolf, but a coyote is a pretty close comparison.
I'm not sure what wolf it was, but it was definitely something similar to a coyote or a wolf.
Wow, that's really cool, Skylar. But it sounded like you had quite the adventure going there in the snow. Daddy said that you felt the coldest you've ever been your whole life.
Well, yeah, at that time it was pretty cold. We went to a hot spring like we wanted to go, but then it was like two or I don't know how many miles, but a long distance of miles, and I was like cold. He said it would be short, but then he realized how many miles it was, and he was like, okay, yeah, let's not do it.
When it snowed and you were stuck in the cold, how did that make you feel?
Pretty bad because I didn't like being in the cold. Pretty much freezing at that time. I did not want to get out of the car. I would want to stay in the car.
But it made you much tougher, didn't it?
Yes, but when we were about to, we were literally on the path like before it said the amount of miles, and I was like, Dad, can we please go to the car? I do not want to do this. And he was just like, it'll be fine. But then like he notices the miles and he was like, yeah, let's not do
it. Oh, well, that's probably a good call.
Yeah, if he never noticed that sign, then.
But the thing about spending time out in the wildlands is that you never know, and when the weather's going to change really quickly. Do you remember that time we went on a hike with Auntie Sarah up to that lake, and we were hiking, and you can tell the story. You remember it?
I, of course, remember it. I
remember our camp spot with the beautiful view. Remember, yeah. And then we hiked up the road to the trailhead. But remember, it started raining, and then thunderstorms came.
Oh yeah. Okay, so we were hiking. We were going on a long hike. I don't know how many miles. I don't remember how many miles exactly, but we were just hiking. We finally, after a long distance of miles of turns and pathways and stuff, we finally get to the spot, which took a long time. But I don't want to say just yet, but I decided to go there, just be at the lake for a little bit. It started raining. I heard thunder in the distance. And you got a text, Mom got a text from Dad, so she right here. She got a text from Dad saying, you guys should come home. It's starting to hail. Or no, he was actually giving a warning that we should go back to the campsite. We were going back. It was like, not just yet. You were like, not just yet.
Well, we had just gotten up to the lake.
Oh, yeah, we had just gotten up to the lake. So that was probably a bad timing. And then thunder started getting louder. She teach me like 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, 4 1,000. All that stuff, like how many seconds it takes to see after you see a white flash. It'll tell you how many miles it is away from you.
How do you know how far away the lightning is?
By after you see a white flash, you can start counting by 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, 4 1,000. And why? Is to say how many miles it is away from, like, you.
And how many miles is it for 1 second?
1 mile.
That's very interesting.
So it would definitely be close. Anyways, back to the story. So the thunder started to get just loud. And so I was like getting scared, like, we should go back now. And we did. Head back, and I see a white flash, and I start doing the thing, like the 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000. I don't remember any of the like 1 1,000 like flashes, like how many seconds it was, but I do remember one. It was like 10 seconds. I don't know if you guys.
I done that 3.
Oh wait, one of them was 3, but I got one of them.
3 what?
3 seconds. So it was like 3 miles away from us. So we just start running down the path, and we finally make it. And our dad is waiting for us in his Toyota. Like, I was like, oh, I'm soaked.
It was kind of a cold day, and that was in the middle of August.
All right.
Yeah, we should have probably turned around. But the thing is when I grew up, my father used to take me backpacking since I was 2 years old. And we went through, this is before smartphones and text messaging, all that, internet. So there was no way to really get a gauge on what the weather would do. And yeah, we had a few times where it was a close call with snow coming in June, which isn't, it's not that uncommon, but we weren't prepared for it. And I think those times are memorable, don't you? I mean, what doesn't kill us makes us stronger. Do you agree?
I do agree with that.
And that's why you're a Life in the Wildlands kid, right?
Of course. I'm wearing the shirt right here. There's that. She made right here on the website, or yeah, the website has a store because I looked at it like last night. Yeah, I really like it.
Okay, so we talked about being a wildland firefighter. We talked about working in recreation. We talked about what it is to be a botanist, archaeologist, and wildlife biologist. Are any of those jobs something that sound pretty cool to you? And if so, which one would stand out the most?
Maybe firefighter.
Do you think it's in your blood?
What's in my blood?
Not literally, but because you come from a father that did wildfire.
Kind of.
Does it just sound more exciting than the others?
I like all of the jobs, but the firefighter sounds interesting to me.
All of the jobs that we talked about have some really good benefits to them. Like some of them are going to be really awesome in different ways. But why did firefighting pop out in your mind?
I guess if I can say dad being a fighter.
Mm-hmm. Oh, is that why? Do you think that you would like a job working outside versus in an office?
Maybe both, like working outside and working in office. I would like working outside a little more.
How come?
Nature is beautiful outside.
It sure is. That's why I enjoy working outside.
Yeah, I remember you went off of a job a couple months ago back in 2021, and you literally had to sleep in your office. You barely got any room.
I was working on a fire in a school, and I chose the copy room to make my bed because I had a door and it was just enough room for me. But that's only why. That's the only reason why.
Okay. So, can you tell me what next?
Well, I was just going to ask you if there was anything else you'd like to talk about or wanting to know about what Life in the Wildlands does.
What does Life in the Wildlands do?
So, Life in the Wildlands helps people to get into these types of jobs because it's a government job that's hard to get into because the application process is really, really difficult. And so what we do is we help people individually to help them with their resumes, which you'll learn about in high school. You'll need a resume to ever get a job.
Okay.
And then also people can call me on the phone to get advice on how to go about getting these types of jobs, because some of them require college and others do not. And that's what we do. We try to help people get into these really important jobs. And do you know why they're important?
To protect wildlife.
Well, not just wildlife, but
wilderness. These jobs are important to protect resources, like the wildlands. and all the resources and everything else in the forest.
All right. Well, thank you, Skyler. You've been a great help today, and I really appreciate you doing this podcast with me. I think that has been really, really, really fun.
I would like to thank you all for so much joining podcasts is to help other kids to reach out to us. Yeah, this podcast is to reach other kids. Awesome jobs that you could be working outdoors.
All right. Well, thank you, Skyler.
Goodbye, everyone, and I hope this podcast helped you out.
For more stories about outdoor careers, subscribe to the Life in the Wildlands podcast, where I will be interviewing outdoor professionals to discover exciting opportunities in outdoor careers, share professional experiences, discuss the hurdles to federal employment, and provide advice on how to overcome these challenges. And if you're interested in outdoor jobs and don't know where to start, or if you already are a federal employee with an outdoor career that's struggling to make it to the next level in your career development, Life in the Wildlands can help you on your journey. Check out our career counseling and federal resume development services at www.lifeinthewildlands.com or call 406-848-1660.